Hello friends, this is Hatim Rampurawala, and in this video, basically from this video we will continue our revision of we'll start our revision for of the chapter professional ethics, that is code of conduct. In that, what we'll do is go through the entire chapter of the scanner from the scanner of CA Pankaj Garg, and we will be covering almost and I would be trying to cover all the questions. So we'll start, and what I will do is divide this into lectures, that is different parts, that is every 10 question in each video basically. So likewise we'll cover, let's see in how many hours this chapter gets completed. So let's start. Question number 1. Question number 1. CA and a newly qualified. We are starting from question number 16. That is directly from the first schedule, professional misconduct in relation to the member in practice. Question number 16. CA and a target would be to cover each 10 question in one video, and 10 means that 10 questions should be completed within 20 minutes. So the recording is also going alongside. So we are starting now. It's 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay, let's start. So from question 16 till question 25th, that would be 10 questions. Okay, in this video, question number 16. CA Sand, a newly qualified professional ethics. What I am speaking is CA Sand, the newly qualified professional with a certificate of practice. Approached CA Pent, the auditor of his father's company, Mr. Max, to allow him to have some practical, and we'll quickly go through. Will not discuss much, but will mainly be conclusion based. We will read. Okay. The auditor of his father. So C.A. Sandh is a newly qualified professional with a certificate of practice. Approached C.A. Pent, auditor of his father's company, to allow him to have some practical and professional knowledge and experience in his firm before he set up his own professional practice. C.A. Pent allow him to sit in his office for 6 months and allotted a small chamber with other office infrastructure facility. In the course of his association with the CA Pent office, he used to provide the tax consultancy independently to the client of the firm. What it is written: in the course of his association with the CA Pent office, he used to provide the tax consultancy independently to the client of the firm. So he was directly independently providing service to the client, and also filed a few IT and GST returns, represent himself before the various tax authorities on behalf of the firm, although no documents were signed by him. So no documents were signed. So clause 12 is not getting attracted of part 1, schedule 1. No documents were signed during this association. But what clause 1 speaks, that a person cannot act as a member, means he cannot act in the name of a practicing chartered accountant unless he is also practicing, and he is also either is the partner or an employee. Okay, so he is not signed, and no documents were signed by him during his association in CA Pent office. He did not get any of the salary or the share of the profit commission, but only reimbursed of the usual expenses like conveyance. Telephone was made to him. After the end of the agreed period, he was given up a lump sum amount of 3 lakh rupees by CA Pent for his association out of the gratitude. Examine in case of light of the code of professional misconduct. Okay, so it's an exam question. Answer: allowing others to use the firm's name, because he was practicing on behalf of the firm, means using the name of the firm. As per clause 1 part 1 schedule 1 of a chartered accountant in 1949, a chartered accountant in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he allows any person to practice in his own name as a chartered accountant unless such a person is also the chartered accountant. So unless such person is also chartered accountant in practice and is in practice is in partnership with or employed by himself, this clause ensures that the work of the accountant will be carried out by the chartered accountant who may be his partner or his employee and would work under his control and supervision. So this clause ensures that the work of the accountant will be carried out by the chartered accountant, means that CA sent a chartered accountant who may his partner or employee and would work under his control and supervision. In the instance that CA Pent allowed CS, he was not acting under control in the current situation. He was acting independently. Okay, so in present case, CA Pent allows CA Sant, another chartered accountant holding certificate of practice, to practice in his firm for 6 months, whereas Sant is not a partner or an employee, so he was neither the partner nor the employee. Further, after the expiry of 6 months, Pent also gave sum of 3 lakh rupees for 3 lakh for his association. Out of the gratitude conclusion, Mr. Pent will be guilty of the professional misconduct by the virtue of clause 1 part 1. See, as we have seen, he was using the firm's name. He was neither the partner nor the employee, even though he is practicing, but he should be a partner or employee, so he is guilty. Basically we consumed much time till now, but we'll cover up, we'll try to wrap up this first 10 question in 20 minutes. Mr. Partner will be guilty of the Mr. Pent will be guilty of the professional misconduct by virtue of clause 1 part 1 first schedule, as he allowed the another person, that is Mr. Sen, to practice in his firm's name, whereas other person, Mr. Sen, is neither the partner nor the employee. Okay, now question number 17. A CA obtained a loan from the finance company for the purchase of the office building, agreeing to pay an interest of 6%. So he obtained the loan from the finance company for the purchase of an office, agreeing to pay interest at 6% and 10% of his gross. So he is paying percentage of his professional receipt till the loan is repaid. So basically he is guilty under clause 2 part 1 first schedule. Answer: sharing professional receipts with other, clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant Act 1949. A chartered accountant in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission or brokerage in the fees or a profits of his professional business to any person other than the member of the institute. So he will be guilty if he pays to any person other than, so these are allowed persons. There is a member of an institute, a partner, a retired partner, then a legal representative of the deceased, or any member of the other professional bodies with such a other person or with such other person. So any person of professional body or with such other person having such a professional qualification as may be prescribed for the purpose of rendering of such a professional service from time to time in or outside India. In the given case, in the substance, the CA has agreed to share his receipt. So in this case, CA is sharing his receipt with the finance company from whom he has taken a loan, which is not permitted basically. So Mr. K is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct under clause 2 part 1 first schedule. Question number 18. Comment on the following with reference to the Chartered Accountant Act and the schedule thereto. A CA firm pays a share of his profit to the widow of the deceased partner. So the firm is paying the share of the profit, so this is not allowed. So basically it depends on the agreement so provided. So we will read the because it is a case based. In this there may be cases. So sharing of the profit with the deceased, of the what we can say, deceased partner. As per clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant Act, a CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct. The same thing has been written, guilty of the professional misconduct if he agrees to pay. Over here he is agreeing to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission, brokerage in the fees of the professional of his professional business to any of the person other than this person's. However, whether in India or outside India, for the rendering of such professional service, whether in India or outside India. However, it is further decided by the council that counsel of the ICI that the widow or the legal representative of the deceased partner can continue to receive the share of the profit where the partnership agreement provides the same. So if the partnership agreed, it is in case of partnership firm. So if the partnership agreement provides, so he can receive, or the legal representative can receive the share of the profit. Conclusion: in the agreement, so if the agreement so provide, there would not be any professional misconduct on the part of the firm, otherwise it amounts to the professional misconduct. Then the various cases are in case of actually an proprietor as a CA, and if he after him, if the profit of share is being given to the legal representative of the deceased. But in case of partnership, it is based on the agreement. That's what has been concluded, that if so agreement so provide, there would not be any professional misconduct on the part of him, otherwise it amounts to professional misconduct. Question number 19: give your comment with reference to the Chartered Accountant Act 1949 and schedule thereto. K, a practicing chartered accountant, gave 50% of his audit fee received by him to L, who was not a chartered accountant, under the nomenclature of the office allowances, and such an agreement continued for the number of year. Of course, this is guilty, means CA would be guilty. That is K, a practicing chartered accountant is guilty, because he cannot share audit fees received by him. To L, sharing of fees to the employee. Clause 2 part 1 first schedule, the same thing has been given in the instance case. We'll read directly that in the given case, in the substance, the CA has shared his profit and therefore is guilty of the professional misconduct under the clause. He is not it is not the nomenclature to the transaction that is material, but is in substance of the transaction which has to be looked. K will be deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct under clause 2 part 1 first schedule of first schedule. Then X, question number 20: X, who passed his CA examination of ICI on 18th July 2019 and started his practice from 15th August 2019. On 16th August, one of the female candidate approached him for articleship. In addition to the monthly stipend, Mr. X also offered her 1% of his CA firm. She agreed to take both 1% of the CA firm and stipend as per the rate prescribed by the ICI. The Institute of the Chartered Accountant of India sent a letter to Mr. X. So she was receiving 1% of the profit as well as the stipend. The Institute of Chartered Accountant sent a letter to Mr. X objecting the payment of 1%. Objecting the payment of 1% of the profit. Mr. X replied to the ICI stating that he is paying 1% of this profit over and above the stipend to help the article clerk as the financial position of the clerk is very weak. Mr. X is liable to the professional misconduct. Mr. X is liable. Yeah, of course he is liable. Or a second question to that: Mr. X, who passed his examination, the same concept it is basically, on 18th and started his practice on 15th August 19. On this much, on 16th August, one of the candidate approached him for articleship. Mr. X decided to give her 1% of the profit of the CA firm. In addition to the monthly stipend, she agreed to take both 1% of the profit agreed stipend. The ICAI has sent a letter to Mr. X objecting the payment of 1%. So what X replied is that that is providing 1% of the profit and over and above and the stipend to help the article clerk to overcome the financial crisis. Mr. X is liable. Is Mr. X liable for the professional misconduct? Yes, he is liable. Sharing of the professional fees with an article assistant, the same definition has been written, but we will read now once because we had skipped 2 times earlier. As per clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, as per clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, a CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he allows, or if he pays or allows or agrees to pay. So what it is written: he will be CA in practice deemed to be guilty if he pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share. See, 3 words are written: directly or indirectly any share of any share, second commission or brokerage in the fees or the profit. So whether he is paying any share or commission or brokerage in the fees or the profit of his professional business to any of the person other than the member of the chartered accountant, partner, then retired partner, then deceased of the legal representative of the deceased partner, then any other professional body, member of any member of any other professional body or any such other person having such a qualification as may prescribe. So such a qualification as may prescribe a member of the professional body for the purpose of rendering of such professional services from time to time in India or outside India. This in line is also important. Conclusion: Mr. X is guilty of the professional misconduct in terms of clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the chartered accountant, and reply of Mr. X that he is paying 1% over and above the stipend to help article is not tenable. See, this explanation cannot be tenable. He cannot share his fees or the profits of the professional receipts. Okay, so we had completed 5 questions, but we had consumed, I think so, much more time than targeted, but then too it's okay. Give your comment with reference to the Chartered Accountant Act 1949 and schedule that a chartered accountant who was in practice since last 20 years died in a road accident. His widow sold the practice. Okay, over here it is not a firm. A chartered accountant who was in practice, it is a proprietary firm. His widow sold the practice to the another chartered accountant in practice for 30 lakh rupees. The price also includes the right to use the firm name. Okay, so basically it is allowed for 1 year. ICI gives the period of 1 year, hold period 1 year. Till that period he can that is widow can sell the what we can say sell the firm's name, and the if the purchasing CA purchases, he will not be guilty. Okay, or second question: Mr. Qureshi, a chartered accountant in practice, died in a road accident. His widow proposes to sell the practice of her husband to Mr. Pradeshi, chartered accountant, for 5 lakh rupees. The price also includes the right to use the firm's name, Qureshi and Associates. Can the widow of Qureshi sell the practice, and can Mr. Pradeshi, so whether he can sell, and can Mr. Pradeshi continue to practice in his name as a proprietor? Okay, so answer is sale of the practice by the widow of the sale of the practice by the widow of the deceased member with the wait a second. Sale of the practice by the widow of the deceased member with reference to clause 2 part 1 first schedule Chartered Accountant Act 1949. In with reference to this clause, in the case of the sole proprietor, a council of an ICI has resolved that sale or transfer of any goodwill shall be permitted in respect of any cases where the death has occurred on or after 38/1998. So the death should have been occurred after 38/1998, provided that ICI permission to practice in the deceased firm name is sought within a year of a death. So within a year, what you can say, the permission should be sought from the ICI. In such a cases, the name of the firm is kept in abeyance till 1 year from the from the death. In case there exists a dispute as to the legal hire of the deceased proprietor, information as to the existence of his dispute. So in case there exists a dispute, so first was the case where there isn't any dispute, so ICI will after obtaining the permission within a year, ICI will give ICI, that is in that case the name of the firm is kept in abeyance till 1 year from the date of his death. And in case there is a dispute as to the legal hire of the deceased proprietor, information as to the existence of the dispute, so there is an existence of the dispute, is received by the institute within 1 year of the death. In such a cases, the name of the firm is kept in abeyance till 1 year from the date of the settlement of the dispute. 1 year from the settlement of the dispute, it will kept in abeyance. Conclusion: widow of the deceased can sell the goodwill provided the sale is completed within 1 year from the date of the death of the member and the permission of the ICI is obtained. So basically the sale should be made within 1 year. As I said, sale should be made within 1 year, and if the permission has been sought, ICI will give an to hold the name, that is the name of the firm can be kept in abeyance till 1 year, can be kept in abeyance till 1 year from the date of his death, and permission of an ICI will be obtained. Question number 22. It's been 19 minutes and we are left with 4 sum 22, 23, 24, 25, but then too it's okay. Since this was the first part, we'll try to complete the what you can say further the other sums, that is the next video, to cover in 20 minutes. Okay, so first we'll focus over here. Mr. X is a practicing chartered accountant. Mr. X is a practicing advocate representing the matter in the court. So he's a practicing chartered accountant. Mr. Y is a practicing advocate matters in the court of the law. Mr. X and Y decided to help each other in the matter involving their professional expertise. Accordingly, Mr. X recommended Mr. Y in all his litigation matter in the court of law, and Y consult X in all the matters. So both are helping each other in all the matters relating to the finance and other matters related which come to him in arguing various cases constantly. They started sharing the profits. So now the crux come, that is, they started sharing the profit of their professional work. Is Mr. X liable? Is Mr. X, see what it is given, is Mr. X liable for the professional misconduct? Okay, so now what we have studied in the exception part, that is in that it is written that we can share the profit, but two member of the institute, or the partner, or the retired partner, or the legal representative, or the professional body of, what we can say, the members of the other professional bodies. So over here this practicing advocate is a member of the other professional bodies. So over here we can share the profit. So so basically the chartered accountant, that is Mr. X, is not guilty. So sharing of the fees with the advocate, or of the advocate, sharing of the fees with advocate or of advocate, as per clause 2 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant Act, as he in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share or commission or any of the brokerage fees in the allow directly or indirectly. See what it is given. He pays or allows or agrees to agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission, brokerage, brokerage in the fees or the profits of his professional business, to any of the person other than the member of an institute, or the retired partner, or the legal representative, or the deceased partner, or the member of any other professional body, or with such other person having such a qualification as may be prescribed for the purpose of the rendering of such a professional services from time to time, as per clause 3 part 1. See, clause 2 is for paying and clause 3 is for receiving, because he is receiving as well from the advocate. Clause 3 part 1 first schedule Chartered Accountant Act, CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he accepts. Over in 2 is, it is if he pays, and over here if he accepts or agrees to accept, if he accept or agrees to accept any part of the professional, any part of the profits of the, wait a second, such a qualification as may be prescribed for the purpose of clause 2 and 3 the regulation 53A of the Chartered Accountant Act CA Regulation Act 1988 allows the sharing of any profit with the advocate. So in 53A, regulation 53 allows the sharing of profit with the advocate. Conclusion: Mr. X will be not deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct of clause not guilty of professional misconduct under clause 2 and clause 3 as they are permitted I will read it again. X will not be deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct as clause 2 and 3 permits a C in practice for the profit sharing with a member of any other professional body, or with such other person having such a prescribed qualification, and the advocates are prescribed under regulation 53A. Then question number 23, CAP is a newly qualified chartered accountant in practice, and in order to increase his professional practice and the client base, entered into an agreement with Mr. A qualified and an experienced registered valuer, to share 20% of his fees with 20% of his fees for all the cases of the valuation referred by him by Mr. CA based on his CAP received 120,000 during the year. I will read it again. Actually, CAP is a newly qualified chartered accountant in practice, and in order to increase his professional practice and the client base, entered into an agreement with Mr. A qualified and experienced registered valuer, to share 20% of his professional fee for all the cases of the valuation referred to him by CAP based on his CAP received 120,000 during 1819 from Mr. A, is P guilty of the professional misconduct under the CA Act 1949. See, if we see that he is receiving, basically that is clause 3 will be attracted, but we have to see whether he is guilty or not guilty as per clause 3. So over here basically he is deemed to be guilty. So we will read the answer. It's an exam question. CA sharing of the fees of the professional work of the other, sharing of the fees of the professional work of other, clause 3 part, as per clause 3 part 1 first schedule to the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, a CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he accepts or agrees to accept any part of any property. So what they have written is CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he accepts or agrees to accept any part of the profit of any professional work of any person who is not a member of an institute, who is not a member. Such a transaction, such a restriction does not applies in respect of any of the other professional bodies such as a person as having prescribed qualification. Regulation 53A 53B of the regulation prescribes the qualification of any person from whom the profit can be shared. So 53A and 53B specifies the person from whom the qualification, from whom prescribes the qualification of the persons with whom the profits can be shared. In the case CAP, a practicing accountant, entered into an agreement with Mr. A, a qualified, experienced, registered valuer, to share 20% of his profit of all the cases, and he has also received 1,20,000 during 1819 from a. Mr. P will be deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct by virtue of clause 3 part 1 first schedule, as he accepts the professional fee from a person who is not a member of an ICAI. Further, the registered valuer are not recognized for the profit sharing purpose under 53 and 53B. See, we have shown in the earlier question the advocate is covered under this 53A regulation, but in this case the registered valuer are not covered neither in 53A nor 53B, so he will be guilty under clause 3 part 1 first schedule. Okay, so we'll see to end question number 24th. Comment on the following with reference to the Chartered Accountant and schedule that to Mr. P, a Chartered Accountant in practice, entered into an agreement with Mr. L, an advocate, for sharing of any fees for the work sent by him. However, due to some dispute, the partnership was dissolved after 1 month without any fees having been received. Okay. However, due to some dispute, the partnership was dissolved after 1 month. Partnership with an advocate. So what the question basically said is, a practicing chartered accountant entered into partnership with Mr. L, an advocate. So they are allowed because advocate is a member of the other of the professional body, basically, for sharing of any fees for the work sent by one to the other. However, due to some dispute, the partnership was dissolved after 1 month. Okay. 1 month without any fees being received. Partnership with an advocate, a clause as per clause 4 part 1 schedule, first schedule, a CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he enters into a partnership in or outside India with any person other than the following. A CA in practice member, see what they are given is clause 4. CA in practice is deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct if he enters into an agreement in or outside India with any person other than the following. If he enters, he will be guilty. So in the following cases, he will not be guilty. A CA in practice, a member of any other professional body having a prescribed qualification, a member who for his resident abroad. So a person who but for his residence abroad would be entitled to be a registered member, or a person whose qualification is recognized by the CG. So it is simple. CA in practice, a member of any other professional, member who but for his residence abroad is entitled to be registered as a member, or a person who is qualified to be recognized by the CG or the council for the purpose of permitting such a partnership. As per the regulation 53 and 53B of a Chartered Accountant Act, a member is permitted to enter into a partnership firm with the advocate, member of the Bar Council of India, besides the other professional, see what it is, beside other qualified person and the member of the other professional body. So 53 and 53B, a member is permitted to enter into a partnership firm with the advocate. So it is entitled to enter into an agreement with the advocate, member of the Bar Council, beside other qualified person and the member of the bodies. So P will not be deemed to be guilty. So here he is not guilty of the professional misconduct, and as per clause 4 permits CA in practice entering into a partnership firm with a member of any other professional bodies or with such other person having such a qualification may be prescribed, having the Bachelor of Law, and the member of the bar council and a person having Bachelor of Law is prescribed. Okay, last question in this video. Practicing can a practicing CA can a practicing CA be held guilty of the professional misconduct under the following circumstances? That a practicing chartered accountant wrote several letters to the government department pointing out seniority of his firm, sending his life sketch and stating that he had a glorious record. Of course, he will be guilty. Records of the services of the country as well as the organization of the accountancy profession with the view to get the audit work. So he will be guilty under clause 6 part 1 first schedule. Soliciting of the work directly and indirectly. There would be many questions relating to this clause 6. We will see in further questions. As per clause 6 part 1 first schedule, the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, a member shall be deemed to be guilty of the a member shall be held guilty if a chartered accountant in practice solicitates the client or the professional work either directly or indirectly by circulating advertisement, personal communication, or an interview by or any other mean as the council guidelines for the advertisement of the member in practice. A member is not permitted to claim any superiority over the other member or the firm to include the name of the client in any of the write-ups. So he cannot also include the name of his client in the write-up. In the present case, a practicing chartered accountant sent the letter to the government department pointing out his seniority and stating his records of serving the nation, which seem indirect method to adventure their professional practice with a view to solicitate the professional work. Z will be deemed to be guilty of the professional misconduct as per clause 6 part 1 first schedule of the Chartered Accountant in 1949. So here they have said that he will be guilty. Alternative answer may be based on the clause 7 part 1 first schedule referring to the advertisement. Would be based on clause 7 part 1 first schedule referring to the advertisement. Wait a second. Referring to the advertisement of the professional attainment. Okay, so it took 31 minutes, basically 30 minutes to complete this 10 questions, but we will see from now next part onwards. I will see either we will do question based, that is either to cover 10 question in each video, or we'll keep a target that let it be how many question is get completed, but it will be of course 10 or more only. I will not cover less than 10 in half an hour, so every video would be of half an hour. Okay, thank you for watching the video.